Hello everyone, today we're going to be working on skill 3, which is to identify aspects of a parabola from an equation in vertex form and standard form. So the first thing we need to do is know what vertex form and standard form look like. Vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, and standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now in vertex form, h and k tells us the ordered pair for the vertex. So the vertex is always h comma k. In vertex form and standard form, the a value tells us about the orientation. Orientation means direction. It also tells us about the shape of the graph. So when our a value is positive, the orientation opens up. And we're going to take a look at what that means in a little bit. If it's negative, the orientation opens down. If our a value is 1 or negative 1, then the shape is normal. If the absolute value of a is greater than 1, then it is a narrow shape. And if the absolute value is greater than 0 and the absolute value is less than 1, then it is wide. So let's take a look at how we use all of that information when we're given an equation. So in this problem, our a value is 1/3. Since it's positive, that means that the orientation is up. The graph's going to open up. For shape, since it's a number between 0 and 1, that means that it's going to be wide. The vertex is always h comma k, so we take the opposite of the number in parentheses, and then we keep the sign of the number after the parenthesis. So now if we know that the orientation is that it opens up, we know the parabola looks something like this. So if it has a min or max, since it opens this way, that means the vertex would be a minimum. The vertex in my little picture isn't necessarily the right vertex. I just want to talk about how if it opens up, that means the graph has a minimum. So if we look at number 2, our a value is -2. Since it's negative, the orientation is down. Then since the absolute value of -2 is 2, and 2 is greater than 1, that means it has a narrow shape. And then for the vertex, we take the opposite of h, so -8. We keep the sign of k, -10. Then if the graph opens down, that means it looks something like this. So that means that the vertex is a maximum. If we look at number 3, since there's no number in front of the parentheses, that means our a value is 1. So since it's positive, then the orientation is up. Since a is 1, that means the shape is normal. And then for the vertex, we take the opposite of h, so +1. We keep the sign for k. Since this is an orientation of up, that means that the vertex has a minimum point. So then we're also going to look at some equations in standard form. All of those equations before were in vertex form. Here we're going to identify the orientation and shape of the parabola from standard form. We will not be able to find the vertex without using our calculator, but we can still identify the type of vertex. So if we look at number 4, let's look back just real quick. In vertex form, the a value is the number in front of the parentheses. In standard form, the a value is the number in front of the x squared. So if we come back here, the number in front of x squared is 2, so our a value is 2. Since the a value is positive, that means the orientation is up. And since it's a number that is bigger than 1, that means that it is a narrow shape. And then whenever the orientation is up, that means it's going to have a minimum point. If we look at number 5, our a value is negative 1/4. Since our a value is negative, that means our orientation is down. And then since the absolute value of negative 1/4 is 1/4, and that's a number between 0 and 1, that means that the shape is wide. And since it's opening down, it has a maximum. Now if we look at number 6, our a value is negative 1. So that means our orientation is down since it's a negative number. Since it is negative 1, that means it's a normal shape. And because it's opening down, that means it has a maximum point. Alright, that's all I have for you for these notes. So make sure if you have any questions, you try rewatching the video and then jot them down. Good luck!